Okay. Yes, my lord.
Did you see 48 Oyster Lady? Thank you for reminding me. I did indeed see a lady who didn't want to go on a date with a guy, but she went on the date anyway, just so she could eat 48 oysters.
Yeah, so today I linked with this nigga I met a few weeks ago out with my friends. This nigga been texting me for weeks talking to himself. Why I didn't block him, bitch, I don't know. But today I was bored and I had time, so he texted me like, can we meet for drinks? And I'm like, yeah, meet me here. They got the best fucking oysters in Atlanta, like, hands down. So I'm like, yes, I can get some content. Come on. It's so good. Y'all, when the fourth one came out, he was looking at me crazy. I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, baby, you invited me out. I'm gonna eat. And I was coming anyway. I'm like, baby, what's next? What I'm about to eat? These potatoes, they was so good. And the crab cakes, everything was so good. 10, baby. Why the fuck this bitch ass nigga say he going to the bathroom and never come back? The fuck? I'm like, hold the fuck on. It's been like 10, 20, 30 minutes, bitch. What the fuck this nigga at? Had to end up grabbing a tab, bitch. Nigga left me with his little one fucking drink. Yeah, bitch. I'm so glad bitch keep me some money, cause what? That was crazy to me. And I said, bitch, you running out on the tab. He talking about, I'm offering you to drink. The fuck are you talking about?
I mean, I'm not gonna say anything that hasn't already been said. 48 oysters is an absolutely gargantuan accomplishment. Like, it's a number of oysters that, quite frankly, boggles the mind. Like, I think, in the video, it really didn't censor her slurp sounds at all. She was just going. 4 dozen oysters is crazy. I think, to be honest with you, before we found out that Kate is allergic to oysters, we used to get them, you know, a couple times a year. And splitting a dozen oysters between the two of us would probably be like a little, that would be enough. It certainly would not be at the point where we'd be getting more. Splitting a half dozen is probably like more realistic. But it's not that I couldn't eat more, I guess. It's just I was kind of like, I could eat more of something that's not an oyster. I could eat 24 oysters easily. I mean, I don't mind oysters. If I was like on Fear Factor or something and they were like, you gotta eat oysters, I'd be like, that 50,000. Is mine. My girlfriend always gets like 36 oysters. I don't know. There's no way your girlfriend is only 12 oysters away from that viral TikTok. 36 oysters is too much. I mean, I could eat 36 probably, but I think that was bait. If it's not bait, I apologize, because it's probably things to hear. Once my friend had me try his oysters, I said I liked it, and he ordered me more immediately. It is one of those things, like, I like oysters. Okay. I don't really want to eat, like, more than, like, 4 of them. Like, by the last 2.5 dozen, I am kind of like, oh, there's still 2 oysters left, huh? More than once I have eaten 36 $1 oysters. Man, that's crazy to me. Are you guys eating the shell, or are you scraping it out?
Yes,
are you peeling those?
All right.
What do you like to put on them? I'll do whatever, man. I'll take them au natural. I'll take a little oyster Rockefeller. I'll take a little Tabasco. I'll take a little, sometimes they put, like, chopped up green onions or chives on top of them, red onions, stuff like that. I'll do whatever. Basically anything with some flavor that enhances / masks the saltiness of eating an entire bivalve whole. I missed all the Indian food when I was gone. You see that viral video of the dude eating Indian food for the first time?
Today we're trying Indian food. We got the buttered chicken, the garlic naan, the onion bhajia, the gulab jamun. I think I got that right. And this came with some sauce and a whole basin of rice. Now let's try a piece of this garlic naan. It's paper thin.
All right. Ready to work, my lord.
That seasoning is out of
Off I
this
go,
world.
then.
It has a nice garlic parmesan taste, and that is cooked to perfection. I'm not even joking. It's thin
Off I
bread,
go,
but
then.
it has so
Yes, my
much
lord.
flavor
All
to it. In
right.
fact,
Right,
this might be the best
Off I
I've
go,
ever had
then.
in my life. 9.5. Now let's try this
Job done.
buttered chicken
What
for
is
the
it?
very
What?
first time.
Right,
They didn't give me a fork or nothing, so thankfully I had a fork in my car. But yeah.
What is it? Off I go then. Yes, my lord.
Holy crap! This
What is it?
might be the best thing
word?
I've ever tasted in my life.
What?
Okay,
Right,
let me chill out.
Yes, my
This
lord.
chicken is
Off I go then.
it's like liquid. It just melts in
All
your
right.
mouth, okay? This is
Yes, my lord.
divine. It is not the best thing I've ever had in my life, but it is truly
What?
divine. One of the best things I've had in my life.
Yes, my
I give
lord.
this a
All
9.9.
word. Yes, my
I
lord.
am absolutely
my lord.
blown away. I'm gonna be getting
Ready
this a
to
lot more.
work.
We're gonna break
Job
off a
done.
piece of this
What?
garlic
All
naan
word. Lord. Yes,
and
what is
dip
it?
it in
Off
the
I go
butter.
then.
Let's see how good this is.
All right.
my taste buds amplified. That should be a crime. That I'm tweaking.
I feel like almost everyone who's tried Indian food
Alright.
really likes it. Like, even if you don't like it, that's fine. But if you're like on your own and you've never tried Indian food, you gotta get on that. You gotta at least give it a shot. The fact that like there's people out there in positions of relative influence and power in social media that have like made it to age 30 without ever trying Indian food is kind of mind-blowing to me. I get that not everybody lives in a place where it's like readily available, but really over like
Job's done.
like 12 years of relatively independent adult living, you never said, I wonder what's going on with this kind of cuisine that has spread from the Indian subcontinent to like every city around the world and is universally beloved. You never thought like I'm gonna give that a little try instead of what I normally have, just one time. It does kind of look like vomit. It doesn't though. It just looks like it's got sauce on it. Like I mean, I guess you'd be pretty sick if like marinara sauce looked like vomit, but like it's fairly similar, like you know, a tikka masala versus a bolognese or something like that. It just looks like it's in a sauce. Have you tried lasagna yet? Listen, that's different. You don't get. I don't get that many opportunities to try lasagna. Okay.
What? Yes, me lord. Job done. Ready to work.
What's gonna happen at some point is I'm gonna go to somebody's house and they're gonna be like, "We made lasagna. That's all we've got is that food." I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, of course, that's fine. I'm an adult. I'll try lasagna, and I'll probably like it." But there's so much other. If you'll allow me to toddler post, there's so much other yummy food at every like Italian or Greek restaurant that my ass is not wasting an order on lasagna. Hey, lasagna lover, thanks for the gifted subscription. Thank you. You see the letterbox review for the Super Mario Brothers movie? Which said 3 stars. I showed up to work before we watched this movie dressed like Funky Kong and no one knew who I was. My boss said, "Who are you supposed to be?" I said, "Just wait," and then they never appeared in the movie.
Yes, me lord.
Incredible review.
Alright. Yes, me lord.
Did you see the post? This is librarian. You got a lot of work cut out for you here. Did you see the post that was like the dudes working out in the gym, but then the quote tweet was like Nicki Minaj spotted in the background, and it was the guy warming up for his set, and he had his. I have to move a little further back. He had his arms on his waist like this.
Forces are under attack. Ready to work. Job's done.
See that one? There's something about I don't even know that much about Nicki Minaj, but as soon as I saw that dude with his hands on his hips like that, I was like, I get the joke. Which is big for me. That's a big step.
Ready to work. Yes, me lord.
Our allies' town is under siege.
I think if anything, we skip the next one.
Say the word. Yes, mighty. Our forces are under
It would be
attack.
amazing to get jugglers.
Job's done.
Our allies' town is
VIP
under
the
siege.
librarian. The time is right because they need the link, okay?
Yes,
bet-
mighty.
Origin,
On
you
my
can still
way.
ban them. VIPs are not above mods in the
Our
hierarchy.
allies' town is under siege. You need.
They need to be able to post links.
Of course. Say the word.
Have you ever seen that tweet? This might be the funniest tweet that I don't understand,
Yes,
but I
mighty.
think is
On my
hilarious.
way.
Upgrade complete.
It's the tweet starts like 38-year-old girlfriend that still says sus
You need.
or something like that, and then the body of her text,
forces are
the
under
text of
attack.
her body is like
Of course.
Twitter is debating whether or not
Yes, my allies' town
PAWG
is under
is a
siege.
slur, and I just can't with this health site today. And then the next line is
Say
me
the word.
popping a boner
need.
so huge after hearing PAWG that I think I might faint. Therefore, this, I think I'm all I don't know.
Ready to work.
It's just a
On
great
my way.
tweet. I don't know. I'm so jealous of people who can come up with a joke like that. There's no punchline, and it's so
Say the
funny.
word. What do you need?
I just can't. Someone saying I just can't with this
Ready
stuff
to
today
work.
is so
What do you
good.
need?
I was thinking about that. Listen, this is. I'm gonna get
Our
beat for
forces
this.
are under attack.
And I deserve to. I was thinking about that every time, like, something gets retweeted into my feed that's like, here's the current status of the SAG after strike, and here's what you can do to help. And I'm like, I'm taking this shit right now. I can't do anything. I'm not in the business. I'm supporting you, like, ideologically, but there's nothing I could do to help you get one over on Bob Iger. You know, it's like I'm already doing what I'm already not watching shit because it all sucks anyway. I'm doing what I can, okay? The ultimate +2 is a +2 from everyone but a
Forces
-2.
are under attack.
That's like a super +2. That's like when you shoot the moon in hearts. And you're like, wait a minute, my hand fucking sucks. Wait a minute, my hand fucking sucks.
Yes, me lord.
It sucks so bad, I'm about to win.
What is it? Righto.
Let me see.
You need.
I think I know. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is.
All right. Off I go then.
Ready
me
for
lord.
action.
He knows about the Full House.
Our forces are under
My
attack.
uncle, when he was executive at NBC, CBS, who made Full House? Hey, did you know that Shonda Rhimes made like every show that was popular on ABC from 2006 to 2019? And then when she was renegotiating her contract with ABC, which is owned by Disney, one of the things she wanted was another all-access pass for her family to go to Disneyland,
Yes, me
which
lord.
is like, I don't know,
Forces are under attack.
cash value of that might end up being like $1,000. And then they were like, yeah, whatever. They gave it to her, and then it didn't work when they got to the park. So she called the exec and was like, hey, my stuff doesn't work. And they said, don't you have enough as is? And she immediately called her agent and said, get me a deal with Netflix. And that's how Bridgerton came to pass. Talk about like the worst franchise ever. You lost the producer who created Grey's Anatomy over a day's admission to Disneyland. When you're Disney, i.e. it costs you nothing. Thought you really needed the extra $154 from Shonda Rhimes?
Forces are under attack.
She is so real for that.
Shall not falter.
It's true. My ass would have been like, you're right.
What is
I'll
it?
use my credit card.
Our allied town is under
By the
siege.
way, I need to expand on my tweet a
Our
little bit.
forces are
My
under
tweet
attack.
was, all the tall MFers in the NBA, now that there's an even taller MFer, and it's the average. I want to go back to having fun.
What is it?
Is anybody else who's not that tall loving seeing extremely tall basketball players fall short because of the rise of Victor Wembanyama? Like, now you know what it's like, you 6'8" motherfucker. Ever since middle school, your ass was scoring like 75 points a game because of a literal genetic advantage. Now all of a sudden you're out, you're like, the dude is dunking on you from the key, and you're looking at people like, what am I supposed to do? My hands were up as high as they go. And I'm like, God, I know, brother. Most of us learned that lesson in like grade 6 or something like that. You make it to the school team because you're like cracked and making layups or whatever, and then all of a sudden you realize that like one kid at the school across town for some reason is like 6'5" in the 8th grade, and you're like, there goes that dream. Banshees of Inner Sharon. Now all of a sudden, you got Victor Wembanyama, and they're like, being tall isn't fair. And you're like, welcome to basketball, bitch. So it's been like, since it was invented. Was it tall guy in Banshees of Inner Sharon? No, obviously not. It takes place in Ireland. Oh, come on! I'm 5'9½". I can say whatever I want to say.
Town is under siege. Forces are under attack. What is it?
Posting one of the AI-generated Pixar memes
Job done.
and saying, "Holy shit, I've been looking at these all day." And
Ready for
action. It's so funny.
Job
I
done.
know it. I genuinely don't have anything against Pussy B. Most of the time, it stays.
Ready to work. Job done.
I mean, this shit had like 46 likes or something like that. After I got quote tweeted.
Yes, me lord.
Bad, man.
All
life
word.
is with us.
No. It was the soulful one.
Forces are
Wasn't
under
the,
attack.
I did see the one where the lady,
Yes, my liege.
smartest
Job
blue
done.
check,
Job
where
done.
Right.
the tattooed lady in high-rise denim shorts is being chased by the
Job
ghost of a
done.
bunch of
Allied
flying
town is
babies,
under
and he
siege.
said, "This is so sad."
Forces are under attack.
And then all the blue, it's driving me crazy. All the blue checks in the replies are like, "Are the ghost
done.
babies supposed to represent abortions?"
Go then.
The dude's like,
Go then.
"Sorry."
Can't build that. Allied
I know that was a
town
little
under
subtle, but yeah, that's the point. We got it. I'm sorry, I made it maybe a little too advanced.
What?
And then,
Job done.
like, the dude made the art
Job done.
and
Job
is
done.
like
Job done.
sad at the.
Job
I mean, he didn't
done.
make the art. Like the AI made the art, but he made the prompt, and then he's like, "This is so sad. It's not real.
What is it?
You made it.
Right.
If someone drew it and you were saying it's so sad, that's also like insanely pathetic. But like, you made it, dude. It's not real.
Oh, word. Job done. Forces are under attack. Job done.
It's bad.
Allied town is under siege.
Don't necessarily get better
Fuck you,
taste
then.
as you get older.
Life is with us.
That's like kind of the way it goes from childhood.
Forces are under
It's like,
attack.
you know, you like
Me lord.
Cocoa Melon,
Job
and then you
done.
go
Fuck
older,
you, then.
like,
Job done. Allied town.
sorry, some no, they're good art people. They don't grow out of them. Those are actually for all ages. Okay, sure. Then as a teenager, you probably get like really into like some cringe stuff. And years after that, but you're like, whoa, bro, you
Job
ever
done.
seen
Ready to work.
Koyaanis's cutscene? It's fucking guy who's seen 200 movies. You really gotta get on Koyaanis's cutscene. It's a thoughtful meditation that stretches the medium of cinema. Guy who's seen 2,000 films. Y'all really gotta check out Crank 2 High Voltage. It goes hard. Anyway, long story
Ready for
short,
action.
Our allied town is under siege.
I just can't imagine being 46 years old and being like, check out this AI-generated Pixar meme that references like pornography. It's hilarious. Also, I'm a little worried about society
Our allied
because
town
when
is
people were
under
talking
siege.
about like, oh, AI is going to cause problems, got shot.
Say the word.
Because we won't be able to tell like what's AI and what's not.
Forces are under
I was
attack.
like, sure, maybe one day, but not today. I can tell.
Our allied town is under siege.
But then, like, 40% of blue check replies on Twitter to viral posts
Our
are
forces are under attack. Oh, word.
restating the
Our allied
original
town is
post,
under siege.
but in different words. And people reply
I can't build that.
as if they're a real person. And I'm like,
Forces are under
you're
attack.
cooked. Like, if you're getting beat by ChatGPT for bots on Twitter right now,
Job done.
you have no
Job
future.
done that. What?
Your ass is
Job
getting
done.
killed in the robot war.
Forces are under attack.
It's so over.
Our
Well, I
allied
think
town
that
is
most
under
people
siege.
are
Job
out of
done.
power.
Right there. Yes,
So it's
my lord.
probably
Job
okay.
done. Oh, word.
But here's what I think we
Job
should do
done.
to fix
What
the
is it?
problem.
Job done.
If you get got by a bot,
Off I go then.
that
Off I
bot
go then.
gets to take
What?
over
Job
the
done.
society.
Job done.
They are gonna do more
Job
work.
done.
Sorry if that
Oh,
offends you.
word. Job done.
You trade places with the bot. You become the bot. Now that doesn't mean you're toast. It just means you're in the gulag. You have to then
Forces are under attack.
trick another human being
Yes, my liege.
when you're in bot
under
mode
siege.
into thinking that you're a human being, and then you take their
Job
spot.
done.
Like, I'll tell you, my ass is not going to the
Oh,
gulag
word.
to somebody,
Go
like,
then.
an AI-generated person that doesn't
Forces are
exist.
under
They're
attack.
in a
Under
suit.
siege.
Their name is like doctor something to give them an air of authority. They've got 6
Lord.
followers. They
Job
say, I'm an
done.
expert in nutrition. By the way, all of my posts are replies to
Oh,
top
word.
things
Allied
Say the
town
word.
is under
about
siege.
Jada Pinkett
On my
Smith.
way.
Job
That's
done.
not, I'm not going down like that. Maybe in 5, 10 years,
What?
you'll catch me in a gulag. I'll be like, I got by someone that said something that I already agreed with what they said, and that let my guard down. My own bias made me lose my my skepticism, and now you find me in the AI gulag. What if Pixar made a movie that wasn't appropriate? Crying emoji is the fucking funniest. What if a fucking dog was a fucking cat, bro? Let's get me to say that. Dogs are not cats, man. That would be crazy. Now, I know what you're gonna say. What if a baby was a boss?
What is it?
Go crazy, okay?
Forward. Yes,
So
my
we've
lord.
got some.
Our forces are under attack. Our allies
Stop
are
down.
under
What is it?
siege.
Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord.
Our forces are under attack. Our allies are under siege. There's
Forward. Go then. What is it?
forces are under attack.
Job done.
Our allies are under siege. Our town is under siege.
What is it? What? Right. Yes, my lord.
Forces are under attack.
Go then. Job
Our
done.
allies' town is under siege.
Forward.
Να μας σωθεί αυτός ο αέρας μαζί, πέρα από τόπους και
Yes,
καιρούς.
my lord. Yes, my lord.
Τόσο
Forces are under attack.
εκείνη μοντέρνη φανταζή.
Job done.
Our allies' town is under siege.
Job done. What is it? What is it?
I got a 15-month-old. I love him, but he's very.
Our town is under
That's
siege.
where I'm at too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I would do anything for my daughter.
What?
And then I gotta think, like, if she asked me to call Woody, would I do it? Well, no. Unless that thing did something.
Our town is under siege.
I think that's
Forces are under attack.
within reason. I would do it for my child. That being said,
Off I go then. What?
just
Off I
like,
go then.
this is my
Job done.
birthday now.
Yes, my lord. Job done. Forward. Job done.
Yes.
I gotta have another few rounds before I
Forces are under attack.
What is it?
Our town is under siege.
It's like perfect enough, like a Mickey Mouse, a Mickey Mouse, and a Donald. And then her going, you go Mickey, I'll do Minnie. And I say, okay, that's great. How are you doing, Minnie? I'm doing great, Mickey, how are you? And then she says, you do Donald. And then I say, and I'm already Mickey. She says, yeah, you do Mickey and Donald. And I'm like, hi, Minnie. And she goes, hi, Mickey. And then I go, oh, forget about me, quack, quack. And then she goes, you be Mickey, Minnie, and Donald. And I'm like, what the ass is out here improvising like hours on end in a voice that hurts my throat. 3 different voices that hurt my throat. And you're out there in like your cool kitchen, like hooking up some microplastics. Like, I don't understand. I'm like, you gotta be Minnie. She's like, I don't want to be there. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna be Mickey and Donald if you're not gonna be Minnie. I got pissed off. Like, not a bit. I saw a video playing r/chess that was like teaching my 2-year-old how to play chess. And the 2-year-old, quote unquote, was fucking like 3'8", and they were picking up the pieces and actually making legal moves with them, like putting them in the center of the board. And then people were like, wow, you got a really smart 2-year-old. And the OP was like, yeah, I know, he will very fast. I'm like, this motherfucker is like 7. You guys have not seen a toddler in 100 years. I got a 3-year-old who is very smart. If I try to teach her how to play chess, she's literally just gonna knock all the pieces off the board. And then I'm gonna like be like, don't do that, and then she's gonna laugh. She's gonna do it again. Like, it's not the time yet. You gotta wait for she's like half put it in the British pound and stuff like that.
Our town is under siege.
Looking at their little 5-year-olds, they all got
Allied
like,
town is under siege.
I'm gonna say one thing, I'm gonna say skill difference, but I think that that is
Ready
fair.
to work.
Like, it takes a long
Forces
time.
are under attack. Our town is under siege.
Like, you forget,
Allied
like,
town is under siege.
at some level as an adult, life is easy. Like, the misery and the rage and stuff like that.
Forces are under attack.
But like opening the fridge and like getting a glass of water.
Our allied
Or
town
like if
is under
someone is
siege.
like, here's a board game, and all you do is roll the dice and then move. But then, oh, I rolled a 6 how
Ready to work. What is it? Job done. All right. Off I go then. Yes, my lord.
It's easy until you're 80.
All
Well,
work. Ready
you
to
should
work.
not have brought Twilight Imperium to the Citadel Center, okay?
Yes, my lord.
It is fucked up to think that your brain is like,
Ready to work. What is it?
you? Does that make sense?
Yes, my lord.
Like, I think
Off I go then.
my niece is 12.
Job done.
Her brain is worse than my brain. It's just an objective fact. You know, when she's 55, Asian, that's ridiculous. But something's wrong with our society, because if I went up to my niece and I said, my brain's better than yours, I wouldn't be invited to Christmas dinner anymore. We can't handle honesty. But it sucks that it's like, you know, on some level, like you're entitled to participate by the sheer weight of the organ in your mouth. That's crazy. It's like, I was thinking about it when I was playing like Super Auto Pets. It was like, it sucks that, like, it's but it's very bizarre that we're aware of the fact that our brain is an organ in our personality. And what availed me of this, just got what availed me of the fact that it's so strange to know that your brain is not you, it's just an organ that's part of the composition of yourself, is that I was doing a calculation in Super Auto Pets that wasn't explicitly mathematic. It was like a decision-making tree that I had to go through. If I do this, then this will happen, and then if I roll twice, I'll have to get this, and blah, blah, blah. Whereas if I go the other way, et cetera, et cetera. It is weird to think that you can't just get to the answer. You know what I mean? Like, you have to say to yourself, like, hang on a second. Like, if your heart rate is too high, you're like, whoa, 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 wait a second, I gotta slow down. The idea that your brain is actually like, it's got all the inputs it needs to do the calculation, but you have to sit there and wait while like the transistors like send the information in exactly the right way to then spit out the answer that is there to the grid. Like, you know what's surreal, and I'm sure you're going to relate to this, it happens all the time. What's surreal is when someone asks you something. They might say, like, who's the director of I Heart Hucklebees? You can know that you know it, but not know the answer. Like, you gotta search for the answer. That's crazy, man. There's like multiple levels. Okay, so it's somewhere in your brain, it has a little box that says David O. Russell, because that's the answer. And then there's like another part of your brain that's like, I know we have an I Heart Huckabee's director box in here somewhere. Just give me a minute. Like, it doesn't have access to the VAR, but it knows that it exists in the same scope. So then that motherfucker's out there calling through every neuron. And you can almost sometimes, the second thing that's crazy is you can be like, wait a minute, I almost, that's crazy. Like, you could be like, hang on, the little dude in my brain is almost at the right filing cabinet. And then you go, David O. Russell. Oh, I knew. That's fucking weird, dude. That's crazy. I don't have any answers for it. I'm just saying, just thinking about that is weird. And that's weird enough. That's cool enough. It is dumb. It's also dumb. And then the other one is like, fast dude. Like, my dude for memory retrieval was like pretty good. I'm relatively good at trivia, but there's some people, I watch some Jeopardy, average Jeopardy episode, I'm like, I could maybe have 1 to 2 something. Tournament of Champions. They got a better dude. They got a better dude following the loan. My little dude about to be off the payroll. Someday, suppose this kind of cognitive science meets philosophical discussion of what it means to be the only life you're aware of in the universe that's actually aware of its own conscience. That's a dime a dozen these days. What's not a dime a dozen is some fucking serviceable Lies of P gameplay. Good lord.
Forces are under attack.
I just think it doesn't have to be a
Town under siege.
It is an interesting observation that you can know that you know something, but don't know that something is.
Our allied town is under siege.
Same way you
Forces are
can be
under
like, I
attack.
know I've got a AAA battery somewhere in this drawer. I don't know its location, but I know that I don't know its specific location, but I know its generalized location. That's great. Like it's not just like a little. It's not a solid state drive
Forces are under attack.
that is like you can
Our
have that
town
shit
is under
instantly.
siege.
Like you gotta kick the shit out of your brain sometimes. You gotta be like, no. I really want this one. Fine, okay. I'll shovel some ATP into this task because you delegated it as a priority. I don't want to though. I don't want to multiply two-digit numbers in my head because I'm gonna have to do it in 2 parts, and I'm gonna have to dedicate some memory into holding the first result and then adding it to the second result. Bro, who do you think gave me the calories, dumbass? Do what I say. That's what dopamine pisses me off the most. Dopamine is the reward mechanism, the chemical that makes you happy. Your brain makes it, and then it hides it from you, and it only gives it to you when it does things that, like, your evolutionary code tells you is like a good thing to do, in which some things have hijacked, like sports games. Let's not even go down this road. And I'm like, bro, who do you think ate the fucking goldfish that gave you the nutrients in order to fabricate the dopamine? Give me my fucking dopamine. I spent my money to eat the goldfish. You turn that shit into dopamine, and now you're like, my dopamine. It's not your dopamine. It's my dopamine.
Forces are under attack.
Yeah, but it's not doing what I want it to. So that part's not.
Our
Well,
town
I'm not
is
high. I
under
don't have to be
siege.
high to think about this stuff. Probably have to be high to watch like any show Netflix has produced in like the last 4 years. This is a sober discussion.
Our forces are under attack. What? Our forces are under attack. Our forces are under attack.
Coffee, anyone?
This motherfucker
forces
loves
are under
Spelunky
attack.
too, man. Holy cow. Questions you never need to ask. What's the score of the Canucks game last night? Who won Big Brother 10 and should have won Big Brother 14? And what's Mount got on the docket today? Holy. By the way, Ed Carton, it was nice to ride with you again this morning. Nice to ride with you. I don't know if that. I don't want to call anybody out. I don't know if people were slacking the last 2 weeks because you had a substitute teacher or something like that. I don't know, maybe DL Guiga wasn't keeping you in line and you guys got out of the habit a little bit of riding in the morning. First ride, it was a little early, so we had just a few gamers. Second ride, we had a few gamers. Third ride, I think we had like one to none gamer. Fourth ride, they didn't even sniff. I think somebody showed up at the very end. Like, what? Come on, man. It's possible that maybe people, they got used to me not being there, so they started doing other things, like they started riding their own rides. I'm just saying. Before I left, there were like 7, 8 people from the egg carton in every single ride. Plus, you missed a great bit of banter when Bradley Rose said, "Hey, Google just celebrated its 25th birthday. In response, Leonardo DiCaprio has announced that he's switching to Yahoo." And I laughed a little bit, and then he said, "That's what he does, folks. We love him, but that's what he does." And I said, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" He hit him with the Donnie impression at the end. It's like maybe he's watching the.
Hello there, and welcome back to another video.
Did you hear they recently sentenced Donald Trump to a 30-minute Kendall Tool hit and hills ride, riding at 80 to 90 cadence, 50 to 60 resistance? Dude's gonna be cooked for sure. The judge who sentenced him said, "You owe me $3. His lawyer just got sentenced? I'm not a master of the law, but is that like a bad thing? Is that a bad omen when your counselor gets sentenced to prison before you've been sent? I don't know if they were sent to prison, but is that bad? When the case is so stacked against you that your lawyer goes to jail? It's sick, you legally don't have to pay them anymore. True. And in America, after you go to prison, you can't vote, right? So it's not like in the primary it's gonna hold him back. He's got like a life hack. Is that true? You can't vote in America after you've been to jail? Hey, before I talk smack, 1 second. Bro, what the hell happened to my red blood cell count? I'm on the bike getting my ass beat. 4x this morning. Roll up to ride number 1. It's like the meme of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles villains. It's the Spider-Man villains, right? You got Lizard, Rhino, Moomin Rider, Kip Casper, all smiling there, waiting to beat the shit out of Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man. I'm making the metaphor. I can be Spider-Man. There's no chance I'm gonna make my ass fucking Clayface or something like that. Oh. Anyway, so apparently Suika game is now available on the English eShop, but what's very funny is I literally just went up to my wife's office and yoinked her Nintendo Switch where she bought the Japanese version. So I'm playing the OG version. I'm like a real speedrunner, you know? I'm playing the Chinese version of Majora's Mask because the characters are smaller. As a result, you have 6 less.
Well, at this point, we have our schedule ready. Yesterday, we looked at the results from the heroic testing when it came to DPS specs. So today, the day after, we are looking at the results of the healers with the heroic testing of Larodar and Nimue, which happened this weekend on the PTR. As we approach the release of this patch, by this point we have basically just a couple of weeks before the patch goes live. There is still, of course, some hope for some specs to receive some more tuning, some more changes, but you know, with the latest PTR build being a release candidate for the release of the patch, it's less likely. It's less likely that we will continue to receive some massive major changes. So the state of the specs right now is it's getting closer. It's getting closer to their final form for the release of the patch. So today we have, once more, unlike yesterday where we did all of it manually, log by log, today instead we check once more our spreadsheet about the results of the PTR, looking at the latest 2 heroic bosses that were tested, to look at the results of the healers. This is interesting because once more, if we go through our tuning that has been done to the specs before this set of testing was available, we have gotten primarily a couple of changes to the healers. One was to Mistweaver, a whole list of changes went to Mistweaver. One was a change to the tier set of Holy Paladin and a nerf to their mana regen. We also had the buff, the small buff to Resto Shaman, as well as the latest round of tuning. This one was the one that basically nerfed the damage done of Discipline Priest. That was the only other thing for healers. So looking at the results, we start with we can say a familiar list of highest HPS results in this testing for Larodar, because it's Mistweaver and Preservation. Basically, it's the green gang of healers doing the best. Now, If we go back to just the week before, where instead of heroic it was mythic that was being tested, it was, you know, they were familiar colors on Igira. Before that we had some testing on Council, and once more you had Evoker doing well. The previous one on Igira, the first boss Nullroot, you know, these two specs were doing quite well consistently. The slightly different color we can say this time around is that there isn't nearly as much pink. Holy Paladin is not nearly as prevalent. If anything, actually, we have even more Discipline Priests compared to Paladins this time around. Now, worth pointing out, as we look at this skill right here, that the change to Holy Paladin was the one to their tier set. They have gotten their mana regen nerfed in two different ways, both their talent reclamation as well as the Holy Shock now costing more mana, and then there was a change to their tier set. Now it just heals for less in return for being able to stack up to 6 times. This is not perhaps nearly as good in the raid, because in the raid you are machine gunning Holy Shock to basically every target that doesn't have Holy Shock. You're not actually incentivized in the raid to stack up the same Holy Shock 6 times on the same target, right? You want to spread Holy Shock to your maximum cap of 8 targets. So this buff in healing in the raid is basically irrelevant. It gains more value in Mythic Plus, where you have fewer players and you can stack this up. And of course, it gains much more value in damage in Mythic Plus, or even in single target on a raid boss, where you can stack this up 6 times. You can see it right here, the effect of the 4-piece set bonus in the raid, Holy Reverberation being roughly 5% of your healing, and more or less happening throughout the entire run, because of course it's off of your Holy Shock. This might be perhaps the wrong log to take a look at when it comes to the damage done, because if we look at the damage done of this Paladin, we can find the damage of the Holy Shock to be almost non-existent. The guy never basically clicked Holy Shock on the enemy except for 3 times. And you will not know this because I just cut the video, but I did spend about 10 minutes or so checking through every Holy Paladin log just to see if any Holy Paladin was actually going to bother using Holy Shock on the enemy, on the boss, and test the damage of this 6 times stacking dot on an enemy. Unfortunately, it looks like no Holy Paladin is actually bothering to do this. They're actually not even bothering to cast Holy Shock on enemies. So as of right now, the changes on the PTR for Holy Paladin were basically just a nerf to the tier. Mistweaver and Evoker have not really been touched, or we can say nerfed recently. We have even looked at, confusingly actually, at the changes of Mistweaver, wondering why Vivify and Invigorating Mists were being buffed by 12%, especially when you go and look at any random Mistweaver Monk log, and by this point you might be familiar with it. Every time you look at the PTR and at Mistweaver Monk, you can find Invigorating Mist doing quite a significant amount of healing. So, you know, this one being buffed by 12%, it didn't look like there was any need for Mistweaver Monk to be even further buffed. Same goes for the buff to their 4-piece set bonus Chi Harmony. The only relevant minor nerf they received in the raid was the nerf to Unison, healing less, but Unison, you know, isn't a major part of their healing done, so this one wasn't nearly as felt of a nerf to Mistweaver. So in this fight, Larodar, which, if you're not aware, just to put it in perspective, Larodar is a boss fight where the raid is, generally speaking, quite stacked. You might have not seen the fight, but the raid, besides hanging around the circle in the middle and dealing with the adds, first damaging them and then healing them, most of the raid will stay more or less in the same spot throughout the entire fight. So this is a good fight for healers that can do, you know, stacked healing, grouped healing, healing multiple players at once, like for example Evoker, right? This sounds like a pretty good fight, a pretty good type of fight for a Blossom Evoker, right? You just, oh.
Hey everybody, welcome to